everyone, and welcome to the quarterly product launch of the SIX Investor Experience Platform Analytics Module. I'm pleased to introduce the CEO of SIX, Daniel Barankin, and COO, Bianca Pisciola. Bianca will kick things off by presenting a brief story of SIX. Then Daniel will provide a 20-minute walkthrough of the analytics module. At the end, we will open up the floor for a live Q&A session. At any time during the presentation, you can submit questions using the Q&A panel found on the right-hand side of your screen. And as always, this summit is being recorded and it will be available to watch on six.com afterwards. And without Daniel, Bianca, I'll hand the show over to you to get us started.
SIX is on a mission to unlock social mobility on a global scale by empowering anyone from anywhere to invest in anything. SIX is born out of the change that we're seeing, where folks are moving away from the traditional form of investment, away from broker-dealers, financial advisors, and high fees, towards direct trades, the wisdom of the crowd, and zero-fee transactions. The smartphone is becoming more critical than ever, both in conducting due diligence and actually executing trades. But more than that, we're also seeing communities emerge and financial hubs emerge where folks are conducting due diligence, asking their peers what they think about various investment opportunities. And those are growing at exponential rates and becoming more and more the desired place to learn about next investments. This is changing everything. It's changing investors, it's changing how trades get done, the due diligence process and the investor relations process, but it's also changing companies. It's our belief that there are going to be two distinct cohorts of companies that emerge out of this. There are going to be companies that strive to connect with self-directed investors in new ways, and companies that don't, companies that stick to more traditional methods for interacting with the retail market. It's our belief that on the whole, over time, it's those folks that take strides today to connect with self-directed investors. It's going to be those companies that outperform their peers on the whole over time. Obviously, we're talking about Main Street a lot today with GameStop and Bitcoin and Doge. And what I think is most interesting about that is not the actual underlying asset, but instead it's the fact that we have these communities of people that are teaching themselves and teaching their peers about concepts and ideas that were previously thought as being fairly esoteric. And this knowledge transfer that we're seeing today, I don't think we've ever seen before. And I think this is only going to continue to grow exponentially over time. The promised land here is that folks are going to expect as a default to have these great investor experiences where they can conduct self-directed investment due diligence and discover companies, participate in investor communities. And because we'd like to be part of that if we can, we built the SIX Investor Experience Platform, which we designed around the unique capital market needs of public companies in the metals and mining space, and to deliver great investor experiences for self-directed investors. There are three main components to what we do, which is access, coverage, and community. But ultimately what we want to see is a wave of folks who are making a commitment to build in public. Here's our program at a glance. As you can see, investor summits are in the center because we see this as being towards the end of the investor journey. But there's so much more that surrounds it. These are the items and the activities that lead people down their journey as they evaluate companies and decide where do they want to spend their money. On our end, that's where ads, social, email, creative, and as we're going to talk about more today, analytics play a significant role. We're presently working with 50 companies in the metals and mining space, and we're working together to build great investor experiences for self-directed investors. I'll pass it over to Daniel, who's going to do a deep dive into our analytics program and the ways in which things have changed.
Hi, my name is Daniel Barankin. I'm the CEO of SIX. And it's with a great deal of pleasure today that I unveil the SIX Investor Experience Platform Analytics Module. And so the SIX Investor Experience Platform Analytics Module is designed primarily for investor relation professionals to help measure what matters, act on insights, and ultimately unlock shareholder value. And so in this presentation, what I'm going to do is walk through how you use it and what those benefits are. So let's jump right into it. You can access the SIX Investor Experience Platform Analytics Module either directly from our website, or from our Chrome extension, or from our desktop application. And the way you access it is by pressing that top right Analytics tab over there. It'll prompt you to log in. You can log in with your preferred email address. In my case, I'm going to be using my corporate email address. You'll get a 4-digit code that's only valid for 60 seconds emailed to you. In my case, that code is 8092. And then you'll be granted access into the platform. And you'll have access to all of your associated account data. What that also means is to coordinate with your account manager to make sure that all of the appropriate dashboards and data sets are applied to you. We're going to be rolling out everything this week. And so for 99% of cases, once you log in, you'll have everything you need. But do coordinate with your account managers just to confirm. And so these are the various different dashboards that you have access to. And I'm going to start with my favorite dashboard, which is our Summits dashboard. And so what you can see here are the total sum of all of the data that is associated with the various different events and summits that you've hosted across whatever selected time frame or other criteria. So in this case, what we can see on aggregate, in the case of all events hosted through the SIX platform, is that more than 55,900 registrations have been made to our events, and our events have been attended 22,900 times, spanning approximately 511 summits. These summits have had page views of about 241,000 unique page views. And on a unique basis, because the total registrations and total attendees counts the action of registering or attending. So for example, if I register for 5 events, that would be counted as 5 registrations. If I attend 2 events, that would be counted as 2 attendances. We also have a unique registration and total unique attendees counter. So here you can see that we've had a total of 18,700 unique individuals register for events, and nearly 10,000 unique people, in fact, attend events. Across these events, there's been more than 2,300 questions asked by investors. On average, people who attend events stay engaged for 23 minutes, which is in the context of an average total event of 40 minutes. And we see on average a show-up rate of 41%. So if 10 people register for your event, just north of 4 people will in fact attend that event. We also count the on-demand views. So for example, once the event is done, there's then the asset, the video content that can be viewed and accessed later on. In total, more than 8,320 people have chosen to access this content in this manner. And on average, they watch that content for 25 minutes. Looking at the breakdown of who in fact are attending these events, we give people an option to not disclose, and that option's taken quite a bit, but among those who do disclose, we see that many of them identify as other, many of them identify as professional or retail, a significant portion identify as accredited investors, as well as a fairly significant portion that identify as corporate investors, as well as institutional investors. People who attend events largely hail from North America. That's the primary audience. And then Europe is the secondary audience. And then specifically on a country breakdown, we have Canada, United States, South America, Australia, and so forth. Most folks who register events are not shareholders, and so they're therefore prospective shareholders, but a significant portion, in fact, are shareholders. And so there's a healthy mix of people who have a vested interest in the company, either on a prospective basis or active basis, attending events. Now, where do individuals come from in terms of the source that leads them to register for an event? Overwhelmingly, they come directly from our website and from our ecosystem, including the email newsletter that we send out, and then followed by all the other channels combined make up about 25% of folks who register, which includes emails from issuers, pop-ups, press releases, as well as other associated marketing. The individuals who register for events on SIX are by and large identified as presidents, CEOs, directors, owners, geologists, managing directors, chairmen, partners, consultants, investor, analyst, founder, exploration director, managing director, owner, or retired. And so here you can see the exact breakdown on aggregate of all of the data around who's in fact registering for events. The really exciting thing about this is that in addition to us having this data infrastructure, the major announcement today is that you as an end user are able to log in and access your own data in real time. So one of the companies I'll use as an example here to kind of show you what that experience looks like is a movement that Bianca and I are quite fond of and quite close with, called the Safe Canadian Mining, where we are working to restore the uptick rule to Canadian capital markets, to protect shareholders and investors, as well as to make Canada more competitive on the international stage. And so to see how this is performing, I'm now querying to see specifically the data for Safe Canadian Mining. Here's what that looks like. Instantly, all of the analytics infrastructure populates to just show the data from Safe Canadian Mining. And at a glance, what we can see is that we've hosted a total of 4 summits, whereby 713 people registered directly for those 4 summits, and 349 folks attended live. These events attracted more than 3,420 page views across a unique registration count of 564 and a unique attendance count of 297, with 23 questions asked across these 4 events. On average, the events each lasted just shy of 40 minutes, with the average engaged duration for the typical user at 21 minutes and a half. On average, individuals who register for an event with Safe Canadian Mining have a 50% likelihood of attending. So if 100 people register, 48.9 would attend. And the breakdown we can see is undisclosed, other, professional/retail, accredited, along with a couple institutional and corporate investors. And as you might imagine, especially in the context of Safe Canadian Mining, a North American cause, the vast majority of individuals who attend are North American, with a number of them also hailing from Europe, South America, Africa, Australia, and Asia. The breakdown of where individuals register from, primarily from the 6 channels, followed by various different emails directly from Safe Canadian Mining, along with a number of other sources like 6 email, as well as Twitter and other such channels. The individuals who attend, presidents, CEOs, owners, directors, chairmen, principals, consultants, partners, VP technologies, project geologists, national presidents, process manager, and so forth. And so all of this data now is accessible to you at your fingertips. The summit infrastructure is what I've demoed so far, but I'll show you some of the other dashboards that we built out as well. One of the things you'll notice is that across the many events we host, we're constantly looking at the registration source. And while the most popular registration source is from our own channels, which include our websites and our email, often the third most powerful source is from the issuer email directly. And so what's really exciting is that the investor experience platform, especially the ads module in particular, plays a considerable role in building up issuer email newsletters. So if you look on aggregate, the 6 investor experience platform advertising module has generated a total of 52,500 unique email subscribers for the issuers we work with, at an average cost per lead of just under $10 per lead, generating nearly 1 million clicks, reaching 23.9 million people globally. To put that in perspective, Canada, I believe, is a population just north of 30 million. Here, through the ads platform that we manage over here within the 6 investor experience platform, we're reaching comparably almost all of Canada. And we're serving 25.9 million impressions. And we've done so at a cost, an aggregate cost, of just shy of $400,000. So remarkably efficient. And you can see that efficiency If you compare it to the metals and mining industry cost per lead, we've seen it as high as $250, or an average cost per lead of $142. And so you're looking at efficiencies on a budget perspective of between 1,400% to 2,500%. Here you can see other analytic graphs like daily clicks and click-through rate compared on a daily basis, as well as monthly impressions and reach, also compared on a daily basis, along with monthly spending and leads, also compared on a daily basis. And so you're able to have all of your data at a glance at your fingertips at the moment you need it. So here again, I'm going to use Save Canadian Mining as the example. And so here I'm querying the data from Save Canadian Mining. Here we can see that we've generated a total of 249 leads for Save Canadian Mining at an average cost per lead of $13.50, generating nearly 5,000 clicks, reaching an audience of 200,000 people, serving impressions of ads more than 200,000 times, on a budget of $3,360. And so all of this data is accessible at your fingertips at the moment that you need it, whether it's 2 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 3 p.m. You're able to have full access to your own data. Your data is now liberated. The final dashboard I'd like to walk through is a peer comparisons dashboard. And the concept here is, given the large scale of issuers we work with in the metals and mining sector, there are a lot of insights that can be learned by seeing the trends and comparisons across what other companies are doing. Whether a campaign is performing well or not is always in the context of, well, what's that relative to? And so we're proud to unveil the Peer Comparison Summit dashboard, where we can see things like the top registrations by clients. Invest Yukon currently has the Title Crown. Top attendance by clients, First Mining Gold has that top Title Crown. Top new registrations by clients. Top returning registrations by clients, as well as top page views by clients, and top show-up rates by clients. And so here you can see Oro Peru Resources has the highest percent show-up rate at nearly 76%. Additionally, you can see the investor type breakdown of who's attending events, as well as the registration source breakdown, along with engaged duration and minutes by clients. So folks are spending the most time, in this case, attending Newfoundland Gold's Summit on a duration and minutes basis, as well as here we can see on a shareholder basis, Corora Resources, we can see that most folks who attend those events, in this case 70%, identify as shareholders. And so all of this data on a peer comparison basis is at your fingertips as well to provide context to the various performance. And increasingly, we're going to have dashboards that look across all the various modules of the investor experience platform, from chat to strategy to summits, design, creative, email, social, ads, investor experience optimization, and even analytics itself, so you can see how you're performing in the context of what others are doing and the success and results they're achieving. And so it's a great degree of pleasure that I conclude the presentation for the 6 Investor Experience Platform Analytics Module rollout. To summarize, you have all the data you need at your fingertips. You can access whenever and however you want, whether it's mobile or desktop or browser, an application or a Chrome extension, and you'll have all the data and information you need at your fingertips. And of course, we're always happy to conduct the analysis alongside you and provide even more context and insights so that you're able to optimize your campaign and unlock shareholder value as you deliver great investor experiences for self-directed investors while building in public. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Daniel. With that, we'll move on to the Q&A portion of today's event. I'll remind the audience members that they can ask questions using the Q&A panel found on the right-hand side of their screen. But to begin, the first question is, what features are coming next?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll jump in there just to add one note. A big consideration for us as we've been going along is that we want to provide folks with more tailored recommendations insofar as summits that they'd be interested in based on jurisdiction preferences in what phase they're in the development cycle, commodity preferences. And so what we're going to be rolling out soon is opt-in preferences for folks to only opt in to get notified for companies or jurisdictions or commodities that interest them. That way, our communications to you can be better tailored, and you can hear about news and summits that are most interesting to you.
Great. Daniel, do you have any thoughts?
Absolutely. So we're constantly building a lot of tools, both for investors as well as for issuers. And so for investors, as Bianca mentioned, the idea is to give even more control and flexibility for people to discover exactly what they're looking for, kind of those needle in a haystack moments. In the mining sector in particular, where there's almost 1,500 public companies listed just here on the Canadian exchanges, the idea is, how do we find, as an investor, that company that's most suitable for me, based on whatever those standards may be. And so increasingly providing those tools, like as Bianca mentioned, where you can get notifications about the companies you care about, as well as increasingly creating inferences where if we see that you're attending, let's say, 5 events, and those 5 events are primarily in a particular continent or jurisdiction or commodity, using that information to go and predict what we think you might also be interested in, kind of like an Amazon recommended for you experience. And the idea is increasingly to remove all of that friction. The other aspect is increasingly creating opportunities for people to meet with each other, both in online settings as well as in real life. And so one of the really cool things that I suspect we're going to be unveiling next quarter, we've actually built it now, but are currently refining it, is the ability to asynchronously host these sorts of events. So let's say that Harry and Kingsley, after this meeting, wanted to go and have a one-on-one conversation with each other. They could actually do that directly on 6.com, and they can coordinate that themselves using our software, and it'll be completely for free. And so on the investor side, our philosophy is create really great experiences and tools, give all of that completely away for free. Then on the issuer side, and this is where the investor experience platform comes into play, right now we have about 10 active modules ranging from chat to, of course, analytics. And in between, we have things like email and ads and summits and social and all these various other capabilities. And what we've achieved over the last 12 months or so has been unifying all of these various different functionalities into one single platform where there's one login. All of the data architecture now is connected to analytics. So you can see how your ads are performing from the analytics module and overlay that with how your social media campaigns are performing to see the entire 360 customer lifecycle. And so in terms of what's coming next, it's a lot of really great functionality, both for investors and for issuers.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan. Richard in the audience wants to know if you could talk about cost for 1 month to 6 months per month cost to the issuer.
Yeah, so I'll jump in and say you can take a look at our pricing on our pricing page, 6.com/pricing. However, I would highly encourage you to actually book a demo. Your case may vary and the pricing may be impacted by that. So if you book a demo, I'd be happy to walk you through the program and the various costs associated with that.
Great, absolutely. Thank you, Bianca. Dan, do you have any comments about that?
No, I think that's a great answer.
Wonderful. Awesome. The next question is, what's the timeline for this for client use?
So this is being rolled out immediately. So we built out all the functionality. We've mapped all the data architecture. And so if you're part of, let's say, company A, you'll be able to access only company's A's data, but instantly and immediately. And so there's a lot of work that went into it, a lot of really great contributions, and all of that's being rolled out beginning today. And by the end of the week, everyone that has the correct permissions for it will have access to it.
And I would highly recommend, if for whatever reason you aren't able to access it, please reach out to your account manager. We can expedite the process for you. We're eager to get you guys involved in using the analytics module.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, Dan, Bianca, I really want to thank you for coming on today. I'd also like to thank everyone in the audience who joined us today and submitted questions. Please stay tuned for upcoming events from SIX, where you can learn more about our company. You can always, as we mentioned, find out more information on our website at www.six.com. And Daniel, I'd like to hand things over to you for some parting words.
Absolutely. I just want to give a big thank you to everyone that's been part of this journey with us. Increasingly, we're looking at feedback and trying to incorporate the ideas we hear from the community, Because at the end, the more tools we build for issuers, the more public and transparent they can be for investors. And the more investors use their tools, the more of an incentive issuers have to start giving them, as investors, more attention and emphasis. And our view is that together, we can create an ecosystem of transparency and inclusion. And so thank you to everyone that's involved in this process so far.
Great. Well, thank you. Bianca, do you have any final words?
No, just to echo Daniel's thoughts, and also just to say, please do keep sending your feedback. Our evolution is shaped thanks to you. So I really appreciate everyone's consideration and feedback as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys again for coming on, and thank you everyone in the audience for joining us today. With that, we will wrap things up, and I hope Bianca, Daniel, and everyone in the audience, you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers.